WPBP is Power 104.3.
Hey, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you being here. Listen, I know that you could be doing other things, but the fact that you land here every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, I am so grateful for that. I appreciate you trusting me. You know, I'm not going to waste your time. I appreciate you trusting me. I ran into a TSA agent not long ago, and she said, well, if you leave in town, who's going to do your program? I said, my program will go on even if I'm not here, and I was blessed to have Cameron Tate to be my guest host. I appreciate you joining me, and I appreciate you. Stay tuned. We have an incredible program. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to another edition of Defining Moments. I'm your host, Larry Nix, and I appreciate you being here. Listen, buckle up, because we have an abbreviated program today. You know, every third Thursday, we have our luncheon speaker for Unite Mississippi, which I serve on the board of directors. We have our guest speaker to come in and serve as our luncheon speaker at our monthly luncheon. It happens from 12 to 1 at the Mississippi Agricultural Museum. That is at the Forestry Building off Lakeland Drive in Jackson, Mississippi. Now, if you're in Missouri, if you're in Florida, if you're in Texas, if you're in Michigan, you can't come, all right? And I only say that because we have viewers and streamers from Georgia, from Michigan, from Missouri, from Florida, from Texas, and all over the place. You can't come, but you certainly can stream. So at 12 o'clock, you can join us by logging in on Unite-Mississippi, MISSIPPI.com. And you can certainly be blessed with our guest speaker today. I also want to invite you to join us again every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock, not only on 104.3 FM. We have a lot of delivery drivers. We have a lot of truck drivers that listen to this program. Thank you so much. You are such a blessing to me. I know you're out there. You let me know that you're out there, and I appreciate you joining us. But we have a lot of people that join us on our own private platform that we launched a couple of months ago, IgniteMS.tv. This program will be logged there. Also, all of the other programs, whether radio or all of our podcasts, you can go there and just watch all of our incredible programs. And also just know that our own motivation is that just you're encouraged, that you're inspired, and you're not walking alone, and you're not by yourself. And don't buy into all of the crazy stuff that's going on. Don't buy into the propaganda. You are loved. If you're breathing this morning, that means you're not finished your purpose. You know, there are many folk who went to bed last night and they're in eternity somewhere. You know, they're done. They're done with their earthly work. But if you realize that you're alive this morning, that means that you haven't completed your assignment. My only advice to you is don't waste the breath in your body. Don't mismanage. Don't misutilize. Don't misutilize the breath that God has put in your body with foolishness and with division and with hatred and with venom. Use it, utilize it for God's glory and to benefit the space that he has put you in, the community that he has attached you to. Well, again, hello, Sister Wednesday. I see you. Thank you for joining us. Love you so much and appreciate you. Our guest today is T. Mac Howard. T. Mac Howard is an educator. He is a mentor. He's a mathematician genius. He is all of that stuff. But more importantly, he is the founder, the head of schools, and executive director of Delta Streets School that he founded in 2012. That is a Christian faith-based school that is located in the heart of the Mississippi Delta. Mississippi Delta, for many of you, like, that sounds familiar. Well, that's the area that B.B. King comes out of. That is the area that Morgan Freeman comes out of. That is the area that the Grammy Museum is located. A lot of wonderful people, a lot of incredible, well-named people live in that area. They came from that area, but also a lot of great things are going on in that area vis-a-vis Delta Streets School and my friend T. Mac Howard. T-Mac Howard, welcome to Defining Moments, man. I appreciate you being here. Come a little closer to the mic. So, Delta Street Ministries, if you were to log on, what's the address of Delta Street Schools?
Yep, deltastreetsacademy.org.
So, what is the mission of Delta Streets Academy?
So, Delta Streets Academy equips young men by providing a Christ-centered, disciplined education. And we do that through 4 avenues. We have a high academic expectations, biblical worldview, competitive athletic environment, and then character development.
All right. Now that's what's on the website.
That's right.
All right. But now if that's a 30,000-foot level response, what's the ground level response? When someone see you in the marketplace and they say, "I just want to have a conversation," tell me what that school is all about.
Yep. So we are trying to give families that would otherwise not have opportunity to get out of the local failing public schools,
yes,
an opportunity to get a solid academic education with a Christian foundation. You
know, it's not an oxymoron. It's the elephant in the room, so we might as well just go ahead and address it. If you log on to the website, if you do a little research about the Mississippi Delta, you do research on TMAC, you know, TMAC has a very impressive resume. His body of work is appreciable. He could be anywhere in the country and do very, very well, but he chose to open a school in the heart of Mississippi Delta in inner city and target inner cities. I don't know if it's by default, but I think your initial intentionality was really to target the African American boys population. Why? Because you come from, and this is not to create such a lofty division that is something to be proud of. It's just a reality. You come from an opposite community. You come from a community that is people would consider a privileged. You know, you come from a household that people would consider privileged, but yet you've pushed all of your cards, all of your marbles into going to a Mississippi Delta in a hard community that's predominantly populated by African Americans, blue-collar workers. Poverty in some pockets are the highest in the nation. You know, unemployment is the highest in the nation, but you chose to launch a school there. Why?
Yeah, so I mean, the simple answer is just to serve King Jesus, and he kind of laid it out in Isaiah 58 and Matthew 25, just what it looks like to serve him. And so when he says, "Hey, if you, I was hungry, you fed me; I was naked, you clothed me; I was in prison, you visited me. And if you've done it to the least of these, you've done it to me." And so in my mind, thinking of, you know, where are people that are less fortunate, that don't have the same resources, in Mississippi Delta on all metrics would check all those boxes. And so it just made sense that for me to go serve Jesus, I needed to go.
You know, I said on the podcast earlier, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll share with you when the podcast is going to air. You're gonna want to listen and watch this podcast. It's really going to bless you. Bless you is very encouraging. I said at the promo of it, I said that there are 3 kinds of people: people who watch things happen, people who make things happen, and people who say what happened. There are some people that recognize problems, challenges in the community, and they just talk about it. They point fingers. There are people that are oblivious to what's going on in the community. Their heads and their attention is so distracted with superficial things that they are really not focused on those things that really that God cares about. You know, and then there are people that are so passionate, and they so much so that they can't go to sleep, that they say, "I got to do something about it. I've got to get engaged." You're one of those people. You know, after graduating Northwest Rankin High School, that's a school in rural Jackson community. You know, you went and you participated in the ministry in New Orleans, and I think that's where the Lord bit you. Let's talk about that.
No, that's exactly right. So I had an opportunity summer of 2005 to go work at Desire Street Ministries as an intern. And while down there, just through a couple different Bible studies that the executive director started. Just opened my eyes to God's heart for the poor and doing justice where injustice has been done, and so that was the big catalyst that kind of changed my whole trajectory.
I've said this, T-Mac. I've said that God created all of us. There's not a single person that's breathing, has breathed, is breathing, will breathe, that God doesn't that God did not purpose. God didn't create us or allow us to be born just to meander and just hope that we just throw our lives against the wall and hope it sticks somewhere. God created each of us with purpose. Paul, and we all have defining moments, hence the name of the program, Defining Moments, that God gives each of us defining moments. God gave Paul the defining moments on the Damascus Road. Joseph had a defining moment when he was sold by his brother and thrown into the pit. Jesus even had a defining moment in the Garden of Gethsemane. When he says, this thing is too hard, push it away from me, but nevertheless, I've got to accept this because I understand the purpose of my calling. That's why I didn't get involved in all of the pageantry on Palm Sunday with them, king, because I knew I came as as the sacrificial lamb. Did you believe going to New Orleans, did it change the trajectory? Did it convict you and thus change the trajectory of your life?
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, I ended up changing my major. So I came back to Mississippi State, changed it to math education. And at that point, I knew I was no longer going to live in the reservoir community, which is where I thought I was going to be before I went down to New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. So, and New Orleans was the area that you were working in, that you were doing missionary outreach work. That's a hard area.
Yeah.
To this day, it has made national news that's a tough place, and you gave an example.
That's right. Because at that time, it maybe was not as rough as it originally was when Mo Leverett moved down there in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But he would tell stories that if someone got in an altercation and got shot, the ambulance wasn't going to come into the neighborhood, say, after 9 or 10 o'clock.
Wow.
To where you were going to just have to drag that person to the edge of the neighborhood, and then they would get them to the hospital, just because of how dangerous and, with drugs, gang activity, you name it.
So I'm sure people thought that you probably lost your mind when you went to work or when you went to do ministry in New Orleans. And I'm sure people think that you've lost your mind, or that you lost your mind when you went to tell them that you're going to start your career in the Mississippi Delta.
Oh, for sure. So they would have thought, and this is, even my parents would have been of the opinion, hey, cool, he's going to go do this for a couple of years, and then he'll, and then when I said we were going to start a ministry school, they were just
it's time for you to get checked out.
That's right. And now they were my biggest fans, but they were just being honest and being real.
At being parents.
That's right. Now, they might not have actually ever told me that until after, right? Like, while it was happening, they weren't like, hey, teammate, we don't think this is going to work out. But, like, in their minds, it was like, he's gone and lost his mind.
So what drives a T-Mac, a white guy, and I'm being this obvious, and because white and black, those are social constructs.
Yep.
If you really understand all that, I'm not going to get into that. That's a different program. But me being a black man and him being a white man, those are all social constructs. We have a lot of issues with that more than God created us to be. But it just for the fact of this conversation, for the sake of this conversation, you have a white guy goes to the Delta area. You start teaching at public schools. There are a lot of challenges. There are a lot of restrictions, and it's because of those restrictions. You basically said, well, if I can't do it here, then I still feel compelled to do it, I need to do it somewhere else.
That's exactly right.
Talk about that.
So, yeah,
and let me give you a little heading, and let me give you a little preface. There are people out there who may feel I have something inside of me, and people won't let me get it out. I feel such a burning desire. But listen, I want you to know that if you have a desire to accomplish something, God will get it out of you. but you got to make sure you're committed to it.
That's right.
Because oftentimes what God calls you to is not angel food cake. Sometimes what God calls you to is a hard place that requires hard plowing, that there are stones and rocks, but you got to be committed to it. And you'll find out if you're committed to it, he's committed to it with you. And the greatest revelation is that you'll get the benefit from it. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. So what do you do when you find yourself hitting against, I know I'm operating in my gift as a teacher, math teacher, even a coach, but it's just not working here in the public school system?
Oh, yeah. And at that point, emotionally, mentally, physically, it just was not going to be good for me for the next 25 years. And when I moved to Greenwood, my commitment was, a long time. It wasn't just a year or two and then roll out. And so, and once I realized it wasn't going to be sustainable for me to stay in that system, it was like, well, I don't want to leave. And so then that's when we decided to start the after-school program, summer program, which then fed into the school. So,
and I've got to tell you, George Hester, who is the chairman of the board for Unite Mississippi, he was sharing with me when we talked about inviting you as a guest. He says, man, it's just, he has an incredible testimony that you started basically a Christian faith-based school. You've been able to raise over $16 million, and that's quite an accomplishment. How encouraging. Let me tell you why it's encouraging. Because when you take something from concept to reality and you have to get out there and raise money, it's one thing to talk about what you want to do, but it's another thing to step out and do it. God put such a burning in your heart, T-Mac's heart, to start this faith-based Christian school for boys, that you stepped out and you decided to do it. Talk about that.
Yeah, and so the one thing we have benefited from is God has put me in pathways that were way before we realized what was going to happen at Delta Streets. He was going ahead and building those relationships to where, financially, when you say a number like $15-16 million, that's overwhelming to me.
That's overwhelming to me.
I mean, it's still overwhelming. Like this year, our budget will be $1.75 million, and like that's coming in from donors. The students' tuition covers, let's say, $100,000 of that, right? Because they do pay $75 a month, but the people that I've interacted with, whether that was from my community in the reservoir, the church I went to Lakeside Pres, Pine Lake. I mean, the list goes on of individuals and churches that support us. And then you go to Mississippi State, and all my buddies and their families support Delta Streets to where, and then in Greenwood to where it's just been, I would not be able to go to American Cancer Society and raise $16 million, right? Like it was just this is where I'm supposed to be, and then God just worked through relationships and people to where you would never hear me say I could show you how to raise $16 million. Like that's not on my wheelhouse.
Wow. So what would you tell that person that they have a burning desire? God has given them a passion for something. For instance, like Crystal, she walked in and she was talking about her greenhouse that she's building. Man, I saw the passion.
Oh, yeah.
But what would you tell those persons that have the passion, but they don't feel like, but I don't have the resources?
Yeah.
Which can be an easy mistake to make. That sometimes you equate what God has given you with your own financial capacity to manifest it. That can be an easy mistake.
Oh, yeah. And we jumped in that mistake. You know what I'm saying? And so nowadays, 16, 17 years into this, we do have schools or people that are interested in starting schools or organizations, they want to come and ask Delta Streets questions, and it never fails. The ultimate question they always ask is the financial piece.
Yeah.
Specifically, if they're working with a group of people that don't have, $5,000-6,000 extra dollars to pay for tutoring or tuition for a school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so and unfortunately, I mean, the only good answer I have is between just trusting that God's providing and having really good friends.
Yeah, and God providing through your friends.
Oh, that's exactly
right.
And He still is.
Yeah, and for me, and this is a testament to what I've shared with people, not just to beat a dead horse, but God has put inside of me the vision of building a broadcast network, and I tried multiple times to get involved in the equity position. It didn't work. And the Lord says, I never told you to buy one. I told you to build one. And I said, well, Lord, where am I going to get the resources to build one? He said, you step out in faith. When I started stepping out in faith, then God started bringing me people. One of the greatest producers, Devontae, he's over there right now. He going to smile. He going to get on me. I call him my super producer. God is bringing me Alexandra. God has an incredible group of people around me who are talented, like Crystal and Kim and Frank and Doris and Zeke and Clay, people that touch this program. People may see me out front, but I can't do this by myself. Any graphic, any creativity, other people touch this program. So my advice to you, if God has called you to do this, yeah, you need to do you need to do a business plan. You need to plan your work and work your plan, but then trust God.
Yep.
Don't allow what you don't have to stop you from stepping out in faith, because God, I've learned, and what I hear you saying, God has prepared the hearts of those people that are waiting for you to come in front of them.
That's right.
To say, I believe, I'm going to support you because I believe in the integrity of who you are.
That's right. And the fun part is, as you go farther into it, there are people now that support Delta Streets that don't know who I am personally.
Wow.
Which is fun, right? I mean, like that is because at first it was like my friends. And so they were supporting, one, because they love Jesus, and then two, because they love me. And but now we're to a point to where those people still support Delta Streets, which is awesome. But then there's some people that give money that have no idea who I am, and so now it's become bigger than
they're supporting the mission.
Oh, that's exactly right. Which is where now it has potential to be sustainable.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today is my friend T. Mac Howard. He is founder and head of schools and executive director of Delta Streets Academy, faith-based school in the Mississippi Delta community, particularly in Greenwood. He is going to be the luncheon speaker for Unite Mississippi monthly luncheon from 12 to 1 o'clock today. The physical location is the Mississippi Agricultural Museum, the forestry building off Lakeland Drive. Of course, I think there's room for 5 or 6 more people who would like to join us. Just walk up, don't worry about it, and we'll let you in. If you're not in the metropolitan area, you can certainly log on and hear, as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. Log in to Unite. Ignite is my website, unite-mississippi.com. And, of course, you can stream us live through the presentation. The greatest feeling of stepping out in faith is what for you? Because this at one point was theoretical. It was a theory. It was an aspiration. But now your dreams and aspiration has a parking lot. It has bricks and mortar, has desk and chairs, and most importantly, you're affecting young boys.
Yeah, I mean the thing, and this is what it all goes back to, from the very beginning, is just to bring God glory, because He's going to get it one way or another, and so to step out in faith, and I mean, even to be on this radio show or the podcast earlier, are going to be speaking. It's just fun to see that God is going to receive the glory from that, and because of the steps. And I mean, I hate to say it because it just sounds so braggadocious, but just the small steps that we took in faith that he's blessed and is now, people are talking about it, and we're talking about it right now.
So when people say to you, probably not as much now as before, T-Mac, you've lost your mind. Why did you go up there with them folk? Or why are you doing that? You're going to be making so much more money, all right, and not having the budget as tightly as you do. Man, why did you do that? Why are you doing that? How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to just the calling as a Christian to serve Christ. He's put it on my heart to serve those families in the Mississippi Delta that don't have the same opportunities as other places, and to provide them a quality Christian education, which then will give them the opportunity to ideally, take the next stage in their life, and so that just is my heart is goes towards that.
If people would like to find out more information about Delta Street Academy, how can they either contact you, or how can they support you financially, or how can they send their children? What's the prerequisite, or how can they?
Yep, so deltastreetsacademy.org will have all that information, and whether that's someone who wants to give financially or even come on staff to teach, coach, be a mentor, or even if they know someone in the Greenwood, LaFleur County area that would be a good student to enroll at Delta Streets, they can find all that information there.
So if I send my child to your school, what's the difference of getting an education with Delta Street as opposed to the public school across town?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if we're talking about a fourth grader, right, he's going to do PE every day, first period. So we're going to run around for 60 minutes to calm his mind down, and then he'll go into class. Then he'll have recess before lunch to once again wear him out, run him around. While he's in class, he's going to be taught the same reading, writing, arithmetic, but it's going to be in a structured environment to where just a high standard of making sure they're paying attention in class, doing their classwork, not sleeping, not talking. And then it's all going to come from a biblical worldview. And then through the process, we would like to think that we have fun, right? And so we try to get these guys outside the classroom as much as possible.
In your opinion, how important is invoking the Bible in your school?
Yeah, I mean, I think in our society today, you can see we try to run from it, but, I mean, ultimately you can't have truth without God.
That's good.
And so somewhere in there, it's like if you're genuinely educating someone, at some point God has to come up.
Yeah.
Because he's the standard for all truth. And
yeah, I've said this, T-Mac, I've said many times, God don't mind you having stuff. He don't want stuff having you. The Bible said, what shall it profit a man? Jesus actually says it. What shall it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? And what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? You can have, you're going to amass all the money in the world and die and go to hell. That's and right. Somebody else enjoy everything that you will amass.
That's exactly right.
That's the purpose of living is not to hoard. I believe the purpose of our lives is to give.
That's exactly right.
Is to use it as a vehicle, as a conduit to better our community, to better in our community. I'm not necessarily saying streets and bridges, that too, but our community should be to invest in to enhance the lives of people.
Amen.
We only have a couple of seconds left. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I invite you to join us from 12 to 1 at the Mississippi Agricultural Museum, the Forestry Building, for our United Mississippi monthly luncheon. If you certainly can't come, then you can log on to unite-mississippi.com, and, of course, you can stream live. Our guest, as well as my guest today, is T-Mac Howard. He is founder, head of schools, and executive director of Delta Academy.
Delta Streets Academy.
Delta Streets Academy. That website again is
deltastreetsacademy.org.
And if the Lord says, I'm gonna give you another assignment on a different part of on a different continent, and you have to walk out of the door of Delta Street Academy, what would you have hoped to have accomplished? Now the school the school is still alive and vibrant. It's just being headmastered by somebody else. What do you hope to have achieved by founding Delta Street Academy?
I mean, I think you just answered it. If I died today and Delta Streets continued to keep operating, then we would have then become sustainable.
That's good.
Because we're not sustainable necessarily right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're 16 years into it, but it still feels like in 2 or 3 years we could run out of money or whatever. You know?
Yeah. Quickly, 10 seconds. Where did the name Delta Streets come from?
So Desire Street down in New Orleans, where I did that internship, kind of took it off of that. And so there's more than one street that has issues in the Delta, and so Delta Streets.
So you cast the net.
That's right.
Not just a fishing rod.
That's exactly right.
T-Mac Howard of Delta Streets Academy has been my guest. Join us again next week. Have a great weekend.
Hey, my name is Kyle Reno, Senior Pastor at Cross Gates Baptist Church. Here's a defining moment from this last Sunday.
What is a good way to approach decisions that may impact somebody else's personal convictions? What's a good way